one group, and we're gonna rotate speakers and presenters. So everyone gets the same thing, same message. I'll be in all the meeting groups as well, so if I have something to contribute, I can contribute that. And so we're still gonna do this. I think I'm gonna rearrange it and do mine, the robot assembly, at the end, because that's may take the longest. I have things to pass out, details of materials, yah. So there we are. So that's made a little change. So we're just gonna stay here and do that. So Noelle, Jennifer, who wants to go first?
It doesn't matter to me. Is there any way I can project my screen? That was the only thing that I thought might be helpful. Do you guys want to do, let's do 3D printing first.
Okay.
HDMI is,
Yeah.
yep,
You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, excuse my desktop, it's full of lovely stuff.
They're good.
Okay. Sorry, this might be giving me some much.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that. It's like, I will not remember this in 4 hours.
No.
Yep.
So I was just talking, for the F-170, that's what I'm gonna focus on, and you guys, if you wanna do a different one, you let me know. So the F-170, we need this GrabCAD print, and, Michael, how do you say his last name? Casimir, he'll push this out. Do you know if it's licensed to put on, I wouldn't put it on every student computer.
I don't. When
I
I was there, it was only on mine.
Okay, so, this, and then we open it up. And there's other programs, but I won't reveal them. So once we open it up, it's basically, you're gonna pull in your STL files to print. Do you want me to go over printing students' work like the cell phone holders or the
Well,
bot?
Let me jump in real quick because I sent an email earlier about having to export a file to get it to print. I ran into that issue because our 170 that we have here is not connected to the network. And for me to print the files, I had to export the file as a and then take it down on a flash drive and plug it into and then load it up on the machine itself. At your schools, yours should be connected to the network. It's Ethernet connection to the network. You don't need to export the file, the robot print files.
Right.
You can just open it up on GrabCAD and print it straight from there. And that would be, immensely easier than having to kind of do that. So I would like to kind of let you know about that. The email I sent before only applies if you are not wired, if your printer is not wired to the network. If it is, you can print straight from there.
So this is what you were asking me about yesterday, James.
Yeah, the slicing file, or the
Not
slicers.
Kinder.
Sorry. I'll save that for later.
So
Yes.
my daughter installed.
All right, so I heard someone asking earlier about getting the files. So these are my Tinkercad classes with my students. So I'm just gonna pull one. So that's the nice part about doing it this way, is these were her 3 designs. They got a little crazy with some of them. Let's do this one. So what I have the kids do, and I go through it step by step with them, is I have them pull up their design, and then I have them download it. And you don't want to have them share to the Google Classroom because it's not going to have the right file. You want to have them download it. And then once they download it, we need the STL. So you click on the STL. and it downloads it here. Now, if I were doing this, I'm done, I can go ahead and drag it over to my print tray. But because I need them to turn it in, so I don't have to go into every single student's file and pull it up, what I have them do is then I have them save their file, so, you know, wherever you want them to save it. Or actually, is it easier way? I'm so sorry. So once it's downloaded here, then you just have them go to the Google Classroom, and then I did a turn-in cell phone holder SDL here, and then when they have theirs over to the side says add or create,
Add a file.
add a file.
Yep.
They click on that, and then it says upload. They can just take it from here, the download, and drag it, and it will upload. And then once it uploads, they turn it in. So I can't show you from a student view because I don't have one, but off to the side it's that add or create. You drag the download, it puts it in there, they turn it in. Then when you get to the teacher view, then this is what I see. This is the kids' work. So I see hers, and it's going to say an unknown file on their part, but you can still open it on your part because you have the software. So I click on it, and if you guys haven't used your way to do it, then by all means. And then I say download, and then once it's up here and fully downloaded, and this is, like, I have all my screens up, it's really fun. Then once it's downloaded here, I just take this file and drag it to my tray, and it puts it in.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think it's really important to note that your student's first and last name was the name of the file,
Yes.
because I'm guessing that's helping you keep organized who you've printed and who you haven't.
Well, and another thing I did on Google Classroom is I went ahead and I put in a grade for it, and then returned it, and then if I knew that what the grade was, or even like you just mark it as done, then it helped me keep track. But yes, you have to find a method that works for you to keep track, because it is, especially if they don't rename it, because it comes out with like silly populated names.
So, question for you.
Mhm.
Your grid down there at the bottom looks very different than the grid down on mine. Now, I just installed mine yesterday. Is that a setting of what the printer is? Like, do you have to change like the printer setting on this thing?
Well, let's look at what my printer settings are. This is, the build plate in the F-170 looks just like this.
Yes. That's
So,
why I know I don't have it set up right.
so let's see,
Michael Kasmer
yes.
is a person you can,
And then from, let's go to, here, tray settings.
I have a video
Yeah,
of
using-
what she just did if anybody wants it, like showing the kids how to do this STL.
Oh,
You guys want it?
yes, that's what awesome. Yeah, using Google Classroom, I originally had the kids turn it into eClass, and that worked, but it was very tedious as far as downloading it and, you know, saving it to a flash drive or getting to a file and stuff. So Google Classroom is, last couple years, I was doing this, that's how I turned it in. I like Google Classroom because it shows, okay, this person's turned it in, this person has not turned it in, so you can see exactly, and it has timestamps, and so it's very,
Would it be helpful if we had like a Google Classroom for this group? Share those types of things for yourself, how did you know?
You mean like a place where we can all share the things that we create that are supplemental?
Right, if we're talking Google Classroom, I'm just wondering, like Assessment ID, Google Classroom that we're all members of.
I don't know, 'cause I know it's getting a little confusing, because you already communicate through Teams.
Doesn't Teams have a
and-
place where we
there-
can create folders and you can upload files there?
It's actually in your team or automatically built in.
And some of that stuff, please share with me as well.
I
put
put
you on
on
email.
Polynesian, Brian, sorry.
Alright, so I got Nina, Noel, Brian, anybody else want the video for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you
I
saw
just
this,
don't
this,
want
this
tray.
thing right here, this shape thing, when you're printing that thing, when you're printing, it'll make that thing also. That is called a sacrificial part.
Mhm.
And it is exactly what it is. It'll print and do whatever. Then it helps clean the nozzles and keeps everything flowing. So when you have your print tray, it'll create that figure eight looking thing off to the side, and it's just trash. It's a sacrificial part that it makes, doesn't use a whole lot of material, but it helps keep the nozzles clean. So when I started printing, I was like, this is not what what is this thing? And I had to, no, that's a sacrificial part. It makes that, helps the nozzle clean, and you just,
So will it always print the sacrificial part
every single
first?
time. No, the sacrificial part will grow with the print job. So it'll print a layer or two, whatever, then it'll go over to the sacrificial part and print a layer or two, then it kind of goes back and does its kind of thing. And it doesn't use the support material, it only uses the material, the regular material. Although the printer will put down a layer of support on the deck first and then do the material from that. Okay?
So I
So,
just drag in as many, like you can download as many as you want and fit as many to the tray as you want. So you can print more than you want at a time. And once it starts getting full, then sometimes it says, okay, there's not enough space. But if you click arrange, it will arrange this tray to optimize the spacing so you can fit more on there. So those are the big things. That was the easiest way for me to drag in. Michael set up all of my settings and everything. If you're STL, now if you want to, I don't always do it. You can get error details and repair models. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't always run it, and sometimes it comes out fine.
And what does it do exactly?
It's sometimes if the kids don't like set it up exactly, it will help it, but you don't really need to worry about it. And that's, and then when you're ready to print, hopefully you guys are on your network. And where's my print?
And one of the things you can do also, when you get the arrange, you can override some of the stuff depending on how you want, and it will be an expense in support, but you can change the alignment, have it vertical as this, and there's other options other than having the computer go, okay, and that's usually the best way, but depending on what your timetables are and need to do stuff, I've rotated things vertically. It'll use more support material, but I was able to fit more things on the print deck.
And you just select it, like Brian was saying, and then over here, you click on it, and it's the orientation. And you can do auto orient or orient face to plane, and then you can also reset it. Same thing, that's your range. And I mean, really, you just have to play around with it. And then the other thing is if you are to, and then there's your help. If you're going to change from the ABS or the ASA, which are two types of filament, to the PLA, you have to change the heads on your printer and you have to change the setting in here. And it will prompt you to. I figured out how to do it because I ran out of the ABS at the end of the school year. By watching just YouTube. It's a pain in the butt. And PLA, I don't know if you guys have used it before, it doesn't have support material on it. So the base part on it doesn't, melt away when you put it in a chemical wash. You have to break it away, and it's not as clean, and it doesn't look as nice. Do any of you have the Maker Box? They're the smaller QB ones.
I do, they never look.
No, it's the same print as that, where it's a little more stringy and it doesn't come out as nicely. But the ASA and the ADS that uses support material create a nicer print and it's more compact and it looks nicer. So I wouldn't really worry about the PLA, unless you're desperate like I was and I didn't have any filament left.
So the PLA basically will work probably almost exactly the same way as the one that I have at home with my little Ender 3.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Because it doesn't have support material.
correct.
I mean, it'll print stuff, but it's basically made out of the same material.
Yes, yes. So,
Yeah, the big point is she's saying that you have to break the pieces off, they don't pop off.
Yeah,
or
and I have a-
dissolve. And in my experience, people who use those kind of materials will do that, and then they have to take another step with a sander or something
Yeah.
to sand off some of those pieces and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a trade-off for doing it.
But it's cheap.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I
You
have
know-
a ton of PLA, and I'm coming down to the wire with the ABS, so with the PLA, I'm like, maybe I should have the kids and be like, look, it's engineering class, let's sand it
Yeah.
out, let's do
Mhm.
it. Because I have a
Now,
lot
the
more of
materials that we
materials.
sent you, you should have enough to print 10 robots.
It's
Yes,
just
but then the
cell
cell
phone
phone holders too.
Right.
That's the part where it's like,
Gotcha.
maybe we'll use
Gotcha,
PLA.
gotcha. Now, one thing that also, I'm finding out that it's, I don't know what your side, we've been running the printer here nonstop for you guys to get some of your stuff done. And after you do about 5 prints, you change the print, you change the wash water stuff, you probably should turn it off
okay.
for a little while. And talking to Jeff or people, it's like, it's not a bad idea at some point through the print, just shut it down for a little while instead of keep it running constantly. That's what I was telling some of y'all when you got here earlier, that I'm doing a print that should take 12 hours, I am now approaching on 36. And this is something you should be aware of. The problem is the spool, the filament is twisted in there. So when it's pulling it through, it'll go, oh, I'm out, there's no material left, and it'll stop.
I've never had that problem. which
So
is
I'm
weird.
just saying this is, I've also haven't, because it's been very frustrating. But then you have to unload it, find the overlap, and a lot of times when it's twisted, whatever, there's a kink in it, you're gonna have to cut it where the kink is, because it won't feed through with that kink. Even if it's a slight kink, you gotta cut it so it'll feed through and reload it. And Noel and I were talking about the great thing about the 170 is it says, oh, there's a problem out, stop. I can unload the material, fix the spool, reload it, and say, okay, cool, and start exactly where I left off. So that's it was not an option with the Mojo or other models where you hit this error, it goes, okay, I'm done. You gotta restart over from scratch. And it's like, no. So if you ever get that error message, a lot of times it's like, I have to pause, it's paused, I unload it, fine, open the spool up, and you can see there's a little kink. Unfix it, refeed it, start all over again. And that's been the biggest issue that I've been having, that the filament in the spools have been twisted.
Oh, thankfully I haven't been an issue. Mine gets, the filament sometimes gets stuck. And if you ask Michael, he can come out and help you. And then he showed me how to do it one time where there's a part in the back you can unattach and you pull it out and you have to feed it back through. So he's really good about helping and coming in, and I checked with Ashley, he's got a contract with the county, so
It's unlimited free,
Yeah.
it just comes out whenever you need them.
you just bother him, I'd prefer to say.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's really good with, that's
Can you put his name?
That's like a print deck, where you can see the sacrificial part up here, that it grows with the other parts and stuff. These things will pop off and don't necessarily need to be washed.
Don't wash them.
Yeah, because
I've
those
lost-
pop off. These two things do.
I've
be washed.
lost those little ones, the little rods. I've lost like 4 of them in the chemical wash. And I'm sure when I empty it out, but I'll find them, but the little, no.
Yeah,
they're gone.
One thing you can do, if you so desire to wash those small pieces, get a cheesecloth bag or muslin bag,
It comes
put them
with
in
a-
there. And it comes with a little metal box thing, but there's holes, and the gears are safe, but these two pieces could.
They did.
So muslin bag or cheesecloth, that's one way, that's definitely one way.
So they do need to be washed then?
No,
Oh, okay.
no,
So those,
you shouldn't need to wash them.
so
But
the
if I
only
was,
things that need to be washed are the bigger
Yes.
pieces?
correct.
The
And-
gears and the
and
axles are
this
fine. Okay.
They're
The marker
going to
guy.
have
Yep.
support material on them, but it will pop off. Whereas the larger pieces will have support material, but it's all embedded, and that's why you have to wash them.
Got
But
it.
since those are flat, you can just pop them off when you like kind of crack it on the tray.
And your trays are reusable, so in your drawer, there's like a paint scraper that you just, now some of them you can use a little force to get them and maybe pry some pieces. But all the support layer that's left on the deck can be scraped off, and as long as you don't like gouge the deck, you can use it again.
How many times would you say you can use a tray? Cause I'll look at it and I'll be like, I guess I'm feeling a little dangerous today. I'm
I-
gonna put another robot on this one and then I'll be like.
Mine's like, is looking at it, it's like, I've used it dozens of times, and there's no gouges in it. Rock and roll.
Does anyone use silicone spray to help just pop off the bottom parts?
I haven't found it's necessary with the F-170,
Oh, okay.
but with the Mojo, yes,
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, these, you're gonna, in to pop these off, you're gonna have to take the deck and kind of flex it
Yeah.
a little bit, and you're just like, I'm gonna break it, it's like, no, you're not. But
But
you-
you
and-
then you put it in your tray.
But it pops off, very easily to do that.
So the file you download from here, which I'm sure Brian showed you how to, that's not the file. And I found it easiest, and this is against their schedule, but what I found it easiest to do is I am printing, which one is it? Oh, Lord have mercy. I think I'm on the wrong thing. What I did is this top file, there we go, the F-170s. What I did is I printed this one, I would send it to my printer, and once you send it to your printer, it stores it.
It stores it.
So I pull out the tray, pop it off, put the tray back in, and then print it again. And I'm doing my tin, and I have my baskets, and I'm putting like those pieces in it. And then I'll send the second one to it, and then do that 10 times, and then I'll start putting them together. Just because that was easier for me instead of having to go back.
No, that's fine. I think the original schedule, you will do, I think it says to do 2 bot bases, and then 2 legs and gears, and then do 1.
I think it's like,
And then you change the wash, you change the material, because you have 5.
yeah.
Because you're, out of about 5 bots, your material is low.
I think it wasn't the schedule like designed in mind, so we could be like doing the circuitry while other things
Yeah.
were printing, that's why.
Yeah, so that's
It's set up
exactly.
like that.
Yeah, so it's like,
So
you
we're
print
gonna-
one, you take it off, put it in the wash, swap out the decks, start the next job. So you're washing and printing all the time.
And has everyone found downloading this, or do you want me to show you the download?
So that print file, is that the end result of this?
Yes,
Product.
that what you see, that is the bot base.
Okay, so it's not like the SLTs where it's the,
You don't have to
or,
convert it.
you don't have to convert it, you just literally take
Yeah,
the
that's
file
what-
and
that's what I was saying
send it on
earlier.
its merry way.
Correct.
Okay.
And the other one, the legs and, has the other two pieces, and it has the, and this is where you have to be careful, because the feet will pop off real easy.
Mhm.
And if you're not careful, that you'll lose the feet. So, and that's one thing that I have done when you're doing the traction friction challenge and you have the sandpaper and stuff. I printed extra legs and extra feet, so I have a whole leg and a new feet that has sandpaper. So in having the students change the feet, they just change, I glue the feet to the leg, so this leg is a sandpaper leg. This is a latex leg. And it was just less pieces, it's like, deal with Legos, the little tiny pieces get lost on the floor, scooching along, and, it's like, the bigger, harder to lose, just easier to deal with.
Did you glue the feet onto the?
I did.
Okay, so you can play with that file. So once you have it downloaded, because this is taking a long time, mine I put on my desktop, and it is a different file. It is C and all that
Yeah, the
good stuff.
GZs.
Yeah, that's the file, this file right here, you can send that directly to the GrabCAD, and it works fine.
You can literally put it in a stick and carry it over to your computer, or to your printer.
You shouldn't
right?
have to, if you're
You
wired.
shouldn't have to, but you can.
And make sure yours is connected to an Ethernet
It
drive.
is.
So this is, mine's actually connected wirelessly. But they should have one. And then you just say print tray, because mine's not connected, that's why it's giving you the prompt.
You're able to, you could, I did this once, I don't know if it still works, but if you do a VPN and connect to the Gwinnett network,
Okay.
then you should be able to connect to your printer.
Really?
Huh?
A VPN
Yeah.
when it will.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
Windows.
a little icon, that little shield thing that you can,
Yeah,
and the last time I remember, it's the same as your normal login.
Yeah.
it is.
What was it?
So you
the name
should-
of that phone?
Yeah,
Bot base and then like bot, legs and face.
So is it in the
The
eighth grade?
end name of the file, or?
No, where do we find it on the website, is think what he's asking, right?
Oh, just look at the, like 8th grade resources, their prep. It's on that.
So, yes, so find the file,
Save
Just a-
5 more minutes.
so if this is the main page, and we just click on our curriculum, and then 8th grade robot rescue.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, course preparation files is what it's under. And then you do the 8th grade course preparation files. And then it will be on there.
Okay.
Do you guys have any other questions about the F-170? So, and then I'll do the email.
How to print in PLA, because I've never tried to do that on the.
Okay, to print in PLA, it's still the same tray, everything. It's just, and it will prompt you, because I didn't know I was supposed to do this, but it will prompt you on your settings to change it to here. It will ask
tray
you,
settings.
yeah, tray settings, and then your model material will change. Since my computer's not connected,
a lot of time, when you put the spool in, if you notice on the spool, there's like, a little foot
Yeah.
thing that has a computer chip.
Yes,
So when you put it in there,
it recognizes.
it and you'll say, oh, I have a spool of PLA, and then options should pop up.
and with the PLA, you're gonna have a head
Change
like,
the head out.
but the support head comes out and you put in what's called a cooling head, and it's just like, it looks
It
different.
just looks like a tube that blows
Yes,
air on it,
yes.
yeah.
So that you won't have support, but it will tray settings, and if you forget, it will prompt you to do it, because like I said, I just click buttons, and that's how I figure it out, or I email Michael and be like, hey, my printer's doing blah, 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 or right now, my chemical wash is giving me an E5 code, so, Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that on the wash. with the waterworks, that you like one jar of powder in one tank. After you've run a few washes, or you can take, I found that there's little pieces not getting, so I would take another jar and put a little more.
Did you completely
Concentrate.
empty out your water before you put more in? Did you completely empty out your water and refill it before?
After
you-
after 5 bots, I totally drained
That's what I-
my water and refilled it. I actually ran it a couple times to make sure it was totally cleared out, and because it gets really slimy and thick kind of stuff. And then I filled with water, put a jar of concentrate, and ran 2 or 3. And it's like, okay, there's a little piece here, a little piece there, not getting totally washed off. So I took maybe a quarter of another one and add a little more concentrate to kind of.
Or just run it a second time, because sometimes I noticed when it
You
wasn't
could.
coming off, I was like, let me run it 2 or 3 times first before I
Yeah,
use
you could,
my
and
solution.
there's plenty of places, like, let's say that there's some pieces in here that didn't quite get washed out, I can wash it again with the next batch. So that's always an option.
So the wash is that like big white
Yes, the clean
Like-
tank.
Yep, that's the.
giant tank with
And
a,
there's a lever in the back.
yes,
That you can put a garden hose or whatever. I would take it to find where your janitor closet is, and that sink that's on the floor in the janitor's closet can accept all kinds of nastiness. So just drain it there, and there's probably a hose that you could hose out your tank and refill it from right there. So that's my recommendation, find where your janitor closet is, because if you're gonna try to do it from a sink, which can be done, a lot of times you're gonna need a hose or a bucket or something, and it's doable. It's just way easier if you can use the janitor closet to.
If anyone knows the exact garden hose size, I bought like a standard garden hose, because that's what I saw online people said to use, but it didn't fit. And I was trying to use that to drain it easier into my sink, and refill. And I was trying to connect it to the faucet so it could refill that way, but
Were you
if
able,
anyone knows the sizing, please let me know.
were you able to return that one, or do you still have the hose that you bought?
I still have it, I rigged it up.
Oh, you did?
Redneck style,
If you wanna be
yes.
all engineering about it, you could take your calipers and measure the outside diameter of the nozzle
yeah.
and the inside diameter of your nozzle, and then you can take your measurements to the garden store, and
Yeah.
if you wanna be all engineering about it.
I'll be engineering about it.
Or you
I
can
also
print
have
your
an
own.
adapter.
Or you could, yeah, print your
The
own.
reference one,
Yeah,
yeah,
just print
that's,
one.
yeah.
Print an adapter.
I was gonna say, I have
Use some
an
Teflon
adapter
tape, yeah, we did.
that we didn't use.
Well,
for
we
that.
haven't
that's what I did, I duct taped it, I put slits in it to make it work, it was so cool. I
The
put
concentrate, you have a case of
pliers
concentrate,
on it
those
to
little
make sure it
jars.
wouldn't fall off.
When you replace the
I was
water,
like,
you take one
Yeah.
jar of concentrate and put it in there. After a few, sometimes I'll add a little more concentrate, because you have a case, so.
But plan on hosing it out every time.
so
That's what after every 5, I clean,
Take
yeah,
the
because,
closet.
and you'll get to know the viscosity. When you first start, it's like water.
Yeah.
Then after about 5 or 6 prints, it's oily, it's a lot thicker, the viscosity is way different. I mean, it still works, but the first time, your first wash, you put it in the wash, okay, that's cool. After your 5th wash, you're like washing it for a little bit longer to get the oils and everything off of it. So, yeah, hosing and after 5 washes, whatever. Like I said, over time, you'll begin to realize, it's like, yeah, it's time.
And then the liquid, something that if I can help anybody, especially you guys now doing with the 3D prints and the clean tape, is I was using my bare hands to like pull out off the tray, and I got all that chemical water in my hands and I started getting itchy and stuff and flaky, so I started using tongs
Yeah,
and gloves.
tongs or
Slided through.
these things that they use, like in an Asian market, Asian restaurant, the giant woks. It's like a little mesh ladle looking thing. I use those to kind of to fish it out. Because yeah, there's been times I was definitely piece is missing, I'm here going, yeah, no, I did not. You're braver than I am. I did not put my hand in it. Yeah, I was like, yeah. Okay, cool.
And if you guys have questions, I know, please let me know. It sounds like you were the first in it too. Put it on Teams. And then I just put in, on Teams, the contact information for Michael Casimir. He's got his email, he responds pretty quick, and then there's a phone
Yeah,
number.
it's good to do that. So, okay, we're gonna shift from, we'll cover EDPL later on. So we'll shift over to Jennifer and CAD for a bit. And I'm sure your stomach is going, it's time. So we're gonna talk about CAD for a bit,
Then we'll eat, then we'll.
and then we'll
do the
eat,
robot.
and we'll do robots. Yep.
Everybody wants to present before lunch.
That's right. Do you have, HTML?
Well,
I've never actually. It's for me to like see your